on another landscape job, front garden. Just doing a very straightforward design on this one, and you can see what they've done. They've laid these on 5 blobs of mortar on soil, and that's what you get. And it's kind of weirdly, it's stood a reasonable test of time, but they obviously want, we're going to put some Indian sandstone on a 4-bed. We're getting rid of the turf, and we're having planting in a gravelled area, a sort of very airy kind of design for this one. Very straightforward. Wooden edging around the side, and then we're going to use sets up the path around the Indian sandstone. So I'm just going to finish off this little bit of lifting the turf. So I've just got a turf cutter. It's pretty good, will do the job. They're all slightly temperamental, got their own things. I'll just run through that. So I'll just start it up and just have a quick go. So on this one, to adjust the height, drop it down, I'll just drop it into there, picking gear, just on that one. So here we are on day 2, cleared all the turf off, as you can see, run the Rotovator through. Now what we've done is we've got some MOT down there. I've actually kept the old 3x2 slabs, they're solid. You can actually come over the top of them. I don't normally do that, normally be an MOT, but it just saves a little bit of cost. So we're using these Indian sandstone. And what I've done is set up a line at the bottom and also set up a line at the top. I've temporary bedded a couple, so these are only temporary, just to make sure we get the lines on both sides, because the ground is going that way and that way, so you've got to make sure that it runs both ways, especially when you get to the top. I'm going to run it into this path. Okay, so yeah, all I'm doing really is just getting a load of 5:1 wash sand cement, and because you're using a lot, then you want to kind of use a shovel or a spade to get that in there. So this one, you can see I'm doing a bit of a pattern, so we're using a 900 by 600, and then after that a 600 by 600, and then a 300 by 600, just to keep that bond. And then every other one, you can see we just stagger it to take it back and forth and make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so what we'll do, using the trowel, just sort of, you can use a spade of course, it's perhaps a tad quicker than a spade. Just get this spread out, and you want to be tapping them down a little bit, so you don't want it coming right to the line. So what we're doing is I'm just doing this just so that we're just covering the bases of those. Nearly there. So you just got to come up a little tiny bit there. If you wanted, before you actually paint the backs, you can put one in and then try it. Okay. So what you can do, you can kind of get one. So before putting your SBR and your cement mix on it, you can just have a quick look and just see whether or not it's going to work. This one I think is just going to be a tiny bit low. Probably just wants a little bit more in there, but just so you can see it, we'll just have a little look at that, and we'll just get that in. far off, you see, not far off that. Pretty close, just put the line back up. In fact, we're okay. So that's gone in there, just check the other side. Just have a little look at that, and that's okay, it's not pushing along that much. We've got a gap there, got a little bit of step. So yeah, we can go for that. This has also got to run into the wall. See, there's a little bit of an L in the wall, so we've got to make sure that it kind of gets in there as well. So now I'll just tap this down. Don't need a lot. Just there, just checking that. Make sure what you can do, if it's coming off, what you do is you make what's called a little tingle plate. So you get a bit of paper, hopefully not a receipt, but a bit of paper. Just get it, if it's been a bit of a nuisance and the string's coming off, just pop that round, pop it on there, just clip that on, and then that's all nice. Now you can see that that is pretty much on the line there, and it's pretty good on that side as well, to be honest. We've got a nice joint running across there. I think really doesn't need a lot more. Just check we've got a bit of suction on the slab. There's a little bit there to pull out, because you do need your, whatever you're using, easy joint or whatever you use, to go right in there. It's no good having it on the top, otherwise you have to grind that out. So what we're doing now is putting in the edgings. We're going to be having well, it's going to be covered with a membrane. Then we'll have plants in there, and then black ice gravel around it, quite sort of a bit sort of sharper. The owner ideally doesn't want cats to get on the garden, but we can't guarantee that, of course. But that's what we're going to do. Put one row of edgings in, and so the secret really is to set up a stone one side. So I've just tapped that stone in, so it's just going to be sticking up 5 centimeters. So same with this one. So just have a tape measure and just pop it in 5 centimeters, and just a dry mix, and then just tap down with the lump hammer to get it. So you've got both sides now. So all you've got to do is to put a line between them. So I'm going to just wrap this round a block like that. I'm going to just put that block there. What I'll do is just get another one in front of it, because one is never enough, otherwise it will move out the way every time you touch it. And we're looking for about, you run it and you work to about 2 mil tolerance as you lay these edgings, okay. So that's all nice and set up now. So the actual laying of them, what we do, you'll get a gauge of the height after you've done a couple. So I'm trying to more or less filling this up to pretty close to the top, okay. And then when I lay my blocks, let's see if I pop that one there, that's going to be a shade low, so I want a bit more in there. Depends on the block. This is a slightly thinner one actually, so let's pop a bit more in there. So pop your block in, look at which is the straight edge. I think that one is about the best out of the two. Lay them in tight, hold them together, and you want to be knocking them down at least sort of in about half a centimetre. And once you get your eye in, you'll find that you'll get these down pretty quick. So I'll just get a little bit more mix. I'm leaving a bit here because that'll do for the haunch. So that will come 2/3 up the back of these when we lay them, because that's going to stop them from knocking out. And then what we'll do is just have a look here. Just pop another one in. Again, look for the straight edge. That looks like the best edge on this one. And again, a little tap down to the line. Keep about 2 mil off it, and that's bedded in nicely. Just to make sure, checking that way as well with the spirit level if you want to, and then just keep working away down. Mix up so now I might throw a small one in and then mix up a big one. So probably just need I'll have to grab a little bit more mix just to do that, but you know, just something like that. Pop it in, hold it in tight, tap it down to the line. That's knocking down rather a lot, but and then it's just a simple haunch up 2/3. You don't want a massive haunch because that's where you're going to be, especially if you're planting or putting turf. So something like that, just 2/3 is fine. Then the middle on the inside will get jointed with the resin that we're going to use for the slabs. Good afternoon. Well, we've got a bit of rain, but the ground certainly needs it. We had a lot of rain overnight and it didn't actually touch it. It just doesn't, it's just like run off. So anyway, we didn't do any landscaping today as far as hard landscape, but we're doing soft landscape. So we've gone and picked up the plants, and you can see that here we're using some Eucutiana and rhododendrons, some phormium, nice cotinus to contrast with the phormium yellow wave, and then the beautiful white stem of the birch. Behind the birch will be a copper beech hedge, a little copper beech hedge. It's on its side at the moment. So because this is a low maintenance front garden, what we're doing is covering it with a membrane, stapling that onto the wooden edging, and then we're going to use a black ice gravel, which is a bit sort of pointy and sharp, so that didn't want pets to get on here ideally. Okay, so that's what we're up to today. So what we're doing, we're actually doing the Mypex, or the geomembrane, in strips. Slightly different techniques. What we're going to do, dig the holes, okay, and move the plants to one side, put the membrane down, but be careful not to fall into the holes, and then we're going to plant it. So that's kind of what we've been doing, and it actually is a bit easier than once you've got the membrane down, trying to dig a hole with the membrane around you. Just something we're trying. So the holes are dug out for this next stretch, and we've just got to anchor that Mypex, or anchor the geomembrane, to the sort of gravel board that goes around the outside. That's not what we're going to do. So there we go, we got the birch in, the bench of Jacques Montier with the copper beech hedge behind. We've got the phormiums in at the front with the cotinus just in behind, giving the copper against the yellow. And then looking across, you've got some pines and rhododendrons, azaleas, and at the back some viburnum with the big white Annabelle flowers. So here we go, some stratostigma in the corner, and we just got some paving to do, and then we'll get the black ice gravel on. So here we are, just sort of getting a few more edgings in. I've got to deal with the gate, but just run a few around the side and pave that area, and then around the house run a little bit of gravel, because there's, as you can see, we've got sort of foul water and different thing coming through. So we're going to run this black ice gravel around there. So just have a look at the black ice gravel. So you can see a mixture of black and white, quite interesting. And then we're just using 5:1 wash sand cement, and then as usual the SPR with cement 1:1 mix to coat the backs of the slabs, and obviously working to a line. So we're just getting ready to put the black ice mulch on, and it's sunny still. So what we've done, we blew the soil off the top of the Mypex where there's a bit of soil, just with a leaf blower, and now it's just a question of spreading this around and putting about 2 inches thick. It's quite nice, it's a mixture of black and white, and when it's wet you'll get the two-tone colour. So that's what we're doing. That should sort of more or less sort of finish all around the borders, and then what we'll do is we'll just joint up all the paving, and then the gate just wants a bit of attention. It's stripping down and hammerite, and that should sort of finish this job off quite nicely. So one of the best tools for this, of course, is just an ordinary garden rake. Could use a tarmac rake, we do it as well, just to pull it around. So we're just going to get a little bit of easy joint in here. First thing I'm going to do is wet it down. I've already wet it down a few times, so we'll really flood it, get some water in there. I have blown it off with the leaf blower first, just to get rid of the bits and bobs. So we'll just give this a good old soak, and then what we'll do is we'll chop in the easy joint. Yeah, thank you. I'm just using like a squidgy brush just to get it into the joints, just mop up some of the surplus. Then I'll use a brush just to get it all nice and clean. Working across the joints, making sure you get it into the joints. Obviously you do need to point it as well. Just finishes it off nicely if you just run a jointer into it. So I'll just drag some of this down, just need a little bit down the bottom here. Just going to use a little brush. Normally I have my broom, a little soft brush, but I've left that behind, so I've got to use this little brush. It's not a big area, so just sort of wisp it off. Kind of flick it off sideways, and then I will run round the jointer afterwards. This will just get the bulk of the resin off, and then I can run the leaf blower over it, dry it out, and blow anything else, any surplus up at the end. Just make sure that the joints are full as you go. Just what you do is just run around with the jointer, off the jointing. If it won't go in with the jointer, you can just sort of use whatever you've got just to sort of get in. Yeah, this black ice gravel, although it's nice when it's dry, when it's wet, it's brilliant. So when you just give it a little spray like that, look at that, you really get the black ice sort of feel for it.